is make sure that as a man, you can take care of yourself. Because if you can't, any woman that comes to fulfill a need that you have will take control of you. And you don't want that.
Amen.
It's dangerous. That's why if a man tells me, I don't cook, I'm like, I'm sorry. You're probably going to suffer. Because all it takes is for your link to make you a nice breakfast. And then she moves in the next day. It's that easy.
Big facts. Yo guys, and welcome back to another episode on my channel. You know that we have great conversations. When I'm sitting in this spot in the couch, and I always get great people with different perspectives, giving their take in golden nuggets on the dating sphere, and see what we can take away, see what works for us. So without further ado, please welcome Dinalva to the show. Welcome.
Hello, guys.
How you doing today?
Excited.
Yeah.
It's Saturday.
I'm loving this blazer. Can you check out this blazer, please? Like, come on. I see you. She came to play, man. She's not. Of
course, I'm ready to have a good conversation, so you gotta look good doing it.
100%. I mean, you've kind of been doing the rounds in terms of the dating podcast recently. Your face has kind of been popping up left, right, and center. How's that been for you?
Exciting. I think it feels good to bring a perspective that people are not used to hearing too much.
Yeah.
And to feel like the friction sometimes or the acceptance to what I'm saying is cool. It's a good experience. I like it. It's fun.
Nice. No, it's good. It's good. And what do you think is different in your perspective? What do you think you're bringing that maybe we don't hear that much about?
Genuinely, I think that people are quite bitter and negative when they approach these things. I'm more like, like bad things happen. It's not just women. If anything, women are dealing with a backlash of like generational traumas that we've had to stay quiet about. We're now rebelling.
Yep.
But it's okay if we all do something. Everything's gonna be fine. I'm more positive, I think.
Okay, so you don't think all men are trash?
No.
Not quite.
Okay, I think there's a lot of...
there it is. No, I'm joking.
I think it's not that women are trash. There's a lot of women that are lost.
Sure.
And there's a lot of women that are also toxic. And there's women that are victims. And there are women that are winners.
Yes.
And there are women that are more traditional and women that are more modern. There's it's a rainbow.
Of course.
So I can't say women are trash.
No, I was saying you don't think all men are trash.
Oh, all men. Oh, wait. No.
No? Have you ever gone through all men are trash kind of phase, you know, maybe from some bad experiences?
No, but I have had, and I still a bit with the all men cheat.
Okay, talk to me about that. What do you mean?
I don't know, like it's been out of 10, maybe only 2 guys have told me not all men cheat. And the rest have said, yeah, all men cheat. So that's the one I'm battling with right now. But
okay.
All men are trash? Nah, that's not true.
Do all men cheat? All men don't cheat, but I think we have to acknowledge not all men can cheat.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know?
But okay, so not all men cheat, and then not all can cheat.
Yes.
What about the ones that can cheat? Do they cheat?
I would say if you were going to separate the camps as in men who can cheat, which is very small percentage of men.
Really?
Oh yeah, like in terms of like how many men have options, because most men don't have that many options.
Cool.
So like, or do you think most men do?
No, but the kind of man I want to be with. Wow.
Well, yeah, I'm guessing the kind of guy you want to be with, he's probably like quite a desirable guy, right?
Ideally.
Yeah. So that kind of guy, he's probably going to have quite a few options.
Yeah.
Whereas most guys don't. So if we separate them into 2 camps, it's like, okay, at the guys who maybe don't have that many options, probably hardly any of them ever cheat because they can't, right?
Yeah.
At the guys who do have options,
that's the one I want to hear.
Well, if we're talking that pool of men, this is just a guess because statistically as men, I think men cheat. It's about 28% of the time. I think women cheat about 24% of the time. So it's not that different. It's
not that deep as well, 28%.
Yeah, I mean, almost 1 in 3. Almost 1 in 3. So for some people that might be too high. But I think in the camp of men who are maybe in the desirable bracket, I'm going to say about 60%. Yeah. I'm going to say about 60%.
28 I could deal with. 60 is high.
60 is high.
But it's okay. We'll figure out a way. Maybe I'll just go for the ones that can't cheat.
But then the question is, will they have the things to attract you? Like, will they have the things that you're attracted to?
Okay. Actually, I think looks for me are somewhat secondary sometimes because I like somebody that can entertain my mind.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're intellectually confident, emotionally mature, and slightly unorthodox in your way of thinking, I can deal with that.
Yeah, I hear that. I mean, yeah, I think depends what it's for. I think how much do looks play in the initial for you? Like, if a guy was just average looking at first, would you still give him a chance, or would you be like, nah, I'm going to choose the guy who's more attractive?
Yeah, it depends on the approach. I think for me, for the first impression for me, yeah, the looks are important, but the first impression for me that really, really counts is the first time we like interact, whether it's the way we look at each other or anything like that, because it tells me what your intentions are. And if you're doing that to me, it means you can do it to other people. So if you're doing it in a good way, like for example, guys that approach me with too much compliments or too much visual, any comments like that, if you did it to me, it means you've done it to other people, which means you're trying a little bit harder, which doesn't reflect nicely. Composure is what I like.
So let's say you're sitting at a bar, you're with one of your girlfriends, and there's a guy who wants to approach you. Right? How, if you were going to give him the roadmap to approaching you, what would you say?
Cool. I would say, first observe the situation. Find something about the girl that maybe you think is not usually commented on. For example, with me, what they tend to say is like, wow, see, I saw you from over there. I really like your energy. You know, I have a lot of energy. I'm always like dancing or whatever. Like my vibe. Comment on her vibe. Even if she's quiet, be like, do you know what? I was watching you over there. I like your calmness. It's nice. Yeah. Nice to meet you. I'm whatever. Yeah. You can do that. Just don't comment on the looks, because that becomes a little bit more. Not everybody's open to a sexual connection. When you mention looks, it almost kind of like confirms, oh yeah, you think I'm hot. You probably already imagine me naked. You don't speak to me.
Well, you do want the guy to think you're hot, though, don't you?
Yeah, but you can say it in ways that don't
sound... you want to know, but you don't want to...
Yeah, don't make it obvious. Be a bit more subtle with it. Don't make it obvious that you'd be interested in more than because you're commenting on how I look.
Yes.
See? Comment on my energy. Say, oh, you got a nice style. I really like your boots.
Yeah.
They'll be like, wow. That guy is commenting on my boots. You've actually paid attention. That's what we like.
I hear that. So if he's going to approach you, so you'd be like, oh, I really liked your energy and stuff. And then would you be like, oh, because he said something different, you're more likely to give him a chance compared to the guy who's like, yo, I saw you and you look banging or whatever.
Yeah. It's a heavier compliment, but it's a substantial one. I'm like, oh, thank you. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's it.
I hear that. What do you think women struggle with? And then what do you think men struggle with in dating? What do you think is the biggest struggle for women in dating right now?
I think it's confidence. You know, do you know? Like I've been speaking to like my guy friends, and they're like, you're so different, because I actually can't have conversations with girls. They're so bland. They don't know what to talk about. They kind of expect you. They follow the conversation, not actually lead the conversation. And I'm thinking, it's not actually because they're bland, because they're really fun and really interesting, but they've got so many walls up because they're so insecure about what the world has to tell them, whether or not the guy thinks she's pretty. Does he think Becky's prettier than me?
Sure.
All this stuff makes girls just want to be agreeable rather than actually be themselves.
So you think most girls are approaching men in a more agreeable way?
Yeah, because they're more insecure. Because now, if you think about it, you go on social media, you see 1,000 girls that anyone can say look better than you because of the filters, because of this dress, because of the makeup, hair, whatever.
Yeah.
So nowadays, actually, what a lot of girls are trying to do is they're trying to make sure that they look a certain way and they do nothing to stress you out, because they know that you can go over there and pick out of 100 girls.
Do most girls think that though?
Oh, do you know what girls do when they first meet a guy and exchange socials?
What?
Check the following. They want to know what kind of girls you're following. If it's mostly girls, what does your Instagram page actually look like? So if you have a lot of girls, especially ones in bikinis, the girls will be thinking, oh, you're a player. Or you are a little bit thirsty, because why are you on social media just looking for things?
I agree.
Yeah. Literally. It's true and it's real. And that's why I say, guys, you can't be complaining about girls wanting to catfish you or wanting this, that, because they're all scared as well, because you like girls too much.
Well, everyone can complain about someone catfishing them.
Yeah.
Like, no one should catfish anyone. Do you know what guys look for in a girl's profile?
No. What do the guys look for in a girl's profile?
Kind of similar to what you're saying. If she has a lot of thirst trap photos.
Yeah. That makes
Because
sense.
I think what that says to guys is that this is a girl who actively seeks a lot of validation. And as a one individual man, you will never match the validation she gets from 2,000 likes.
Exactly.
What happened? Now, don't get me wrong. Like, if you have social media, we all look for validation. Because if you have social media and you're posting, you're looking for validation too. So let's not pretend that people don't do that.
Exactly.
Guys included. But I think there is definitely... Because the thing is, guys also think, okay, if she's posting these kind of photos, she's going to be getting DMs from all kind of guys all the time. Yeah, and guys are like... I think guys just go, I think they literally think that's too much maintenance. I think they think it's too much maintenance to try and kind of... For her not to, like, to entertain the attention.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but yeah, it is something guys...
That's true. That makes a lot of sense as well.
Yeah.
I'm quite conscious of that actually on my profile because I understand the attention that it brings to you. So I don't really like that. I like to. I think this is something girls need to do a lot more. I like to be inaccessible. You know, I like
Love
you
that.
to wish you could see, but you can't.
100%.
The mystery is nice.
Yeah, I think that's, and I think when you start moving in that way, especially as a woman, I think you will naturally start to attract guys with more real intentions. Guys who like, oh, I can appreciate she's attractive, but that's not the only thing that I'm looking for in a woman.
Yeah.
Because when you know, what you put out is what you're going to get back, right? So, what's something that you like to bring to the table? What's something you want to talk about or with guys? I know you had a couple of things you want to chat about.
So I wanted to say.
Go on.
There's two things.
Okay.
One is men's game nowadays is quite poor.
Okay, we'll talk about that. What about men's game? What do you mean?
Like maybe it's London, but it's like men don't know how to speak to women. Like I don't know. Obviously, there's the whole idea of, you know, confidence that maybe they're kind of a little bit wary that they're going to get rejected, whatever. But most guys don't know how to speak to women. They're either too forward or too weak. So you're either thirsty or you're wet.
I hear that. I think I wouldn't say that's an inaccurate assessment, but I think there are reasons for that. I think the average guy is afraid of coming across as creepy. Yeah. And he doesn't want to be accused of sexually harassing someone, especially an attractive woman. So I think because of that, guys are like, I'm not going to approach, or if I am talking to her, I don't want to say anything that she could misconstrue. Like, oh, I really like your lips. Fuck, was I looking at her lips? Oh shit, that means I'm like sexualizing her. She's going to think I'm a creep. I fucked it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think there's that aspect. Also the whole dating apps thing, like it kind of eliminates the risk.
I hate dating apps.
You hate it. It's funny because so many people say they hate it, but a lot of people still engage in it.
Do you know, I was in a relationship for 5 years, yeah?
Yeah.
And I said to myself, I was 23 the last time I was single. And now I'm dealing with men that are like 10 years older than the last man I was speaking to. So what does it all look like? So I decided to go do research on Hinge and Tinder. Very quickly see the difference between the two apps. Tinder, oh my gosh. Hinge is a little bit better. But, oh my gosh, at the same time on both sides, people are so either boring or so creepy. Yeah. I don't get how people can just like swipe and just meet somebody and just do things, you know, like people do that. It's mad.
I guess that's what kind of Tinder has become, really.
Yeah.
If you're talking about Tinder.
I've made a lot of good friends from Hinge, actually, like good friends. That
So what's the difference between the guys from Tinder and Hinge, that in your experience?
Tinder is thirsty.
They're way more thirsty.
Yeah, Tinder has like already the connotations of I am open to have a sexual adventure on the first time we meet.
Yeah.
They approach you already with like that assumption that you want something like that. I'm like, freaking hell. I need an hour to come and meet some nice guys.
Yeah. So what about Hinge then?
Hinge is better. I think Hinge people try to be a little bit more serious, I guess, and like the way the profile thing is set up, you get to. It's good to study people on Hinge because people try to be a bit more interesting and show more personality because you've got like quotes and you've got. Have you been on Hinge?
Yes.
Cool. So you see what the profile is like, right?
Yeah.
So that makes it a bit more interesting. You can see the ones that try too hard to be funny. Like, you know, they do a voice note about a joke.
Oh,
like
yeah.
telling me your best
Yeah.
joke.
Always leave that.
Yeah.
I always leave that.
Yeah,
I think
it's fun.
yeah, I think like it's funny because it's interesting how dating apps have made it so much easier for people to just hook up, but then it seems way harder for people to find people when we're supposed to have way more options.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
It's like too much of anything is bad, you know. When you have too many options, now you don't know what you want. Then all of a sudden you got so many options, which means you can be pickier.
Yes.
And like the whole filtering system of it all makes it a lot harder.
Yeah.
And then obviously, if that's how you're thinking, you know, someone else will be thinking that. So you're now afraid that you're doing to others, that others are doing to you what you're doing to them, and it's just
100%.
Which is also why men are scared of women, because a lot of men, not all of them, but the ones that have the biggest mouths that say women are trash, those are the ones that have been out there cleaning the streets, painting the town red, and then they say no, women are like that. They're not.
As in those are the guys who have like fooled around with loads of women. They say women are trash.
Yeah, because you know he who don't trust can't be trusted because they're reflecting on you.
Would you say the same for women then?
Some of them.
As in like the women who say men are trash.
I'd say more like some of them, but not all. Some of them, but actually no. They are. They're reflecting past experiences on the men that they've seen, and a lot of the time, it feels like more of the trashy men are the ones approaching, but that's because they're the ones that are actually more out there. A real man, a good man, doesn't put himself in those situations. That's why sometimes people don't see it.
I think that's true. Or I think it's depending on the kind of guy you want. But if the kind of good integral man, I'm not going to say he wouldn't go there with a girl like that, but I think he only goes there with a specific purpose and then he moves on.
That's it.
Which is very true.
So they don't they don't promote the men are trash thing because they don't really get involved. So it's the same thing with guys. Like, for example, Andrew Tate. Yeah? Yes. The way he's been talking and everything. Do you really think that he is around meeting normal girls? What kind of girls do you think he's around? What kind of women will be navigating to him? It will be a lot of hoes because he's got money.
Yeah.
So why do you think he talks like this? So we can't be listening to him. The girls that he's meeting are not normal girls. The same way they say girls that are looking for a guy that is above average. He's dealing with girls that are below average in terms of their intentions towards him.
I think maybe in regards to their intentions, I would agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But to a lot of men, the girls he's dealing with are the top shelf women.
Superficial.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's if looks are the only thing, that's super superficial. But obviously, we know that what attracts men and what attracts women are different. So a lot of women would look at Andrew Tate, regardless of what he says. They would look at him as a guy who's incredibly valuable because of who he is, the position he is in life. Even though he says a lot of rhetoric that maybe women would disagree with, they still say he's a high value man in their eyes. Do you know what I mean? It's just because we look for different things. Yeah,
I guess that's again a problem that men have. I tell my boys all the time, don't be fooled by the visual.
I agree.
You can do anything. Like right now, I could be wearing all this makeup. Imagine if I take it off and I look nothing like myself.
Oh yeah, it's true.
So you can't be fooled by the visual. Not only that, your body changes, people evolve. When you have a baby, your body will probably change. You don't know how many stretch marks you're gonna get, how you're gonna feel about it. So the visuals is a bit. Just think deeper than that. And I think that's the problem with a lot of guys that are out there and they're painting the town red, is because they don't even realize they're making the worst decision. They think that everything is okay. I'm a guy, sleeping around is not a problem. You're wasting your time and you're actually traumatizing yourself.
Depends on the guy, because the thing is, if you ask not all, but if you ask a lot of guys if they could be casually sleeping with multiple beautiful women at the same time, a lot of guys would definitely indulge in that, more so than I think women would. I think, or maybe women wouldn't. What do you think?
I think ideally, if shame wasn't something, yeah, you know when you say if money was no object, if shame was no object,
Yes.
I think a lot of women would have like multiple partners as well. And
I think more of that happens nowadays, though.
yeah,
don't you?
which is okay, but people stay more quiet about it because a little bit more is worse for a girl to talk about things like that. But yeah, I think that if shame was no object, women would also have multiple partners.
Yeah, I hear that. So
It's
like,
easier.
kind of on that. Oh, it's way easier for women for sure. Kind of on that, then. Do you think double standards are ever okay?
No, I
You
don't think
ever.
I don't like double standards. I like more recognizing the strengths and the weaknesses.
Yeah,
I would say that.
that's true.
For example, I think it's a bad double standard to shame women for having sexual desire. I think that's
Yeah, I don't think women should be shamed for having a sexual desire.
yeah.
I think that's wrong.
That's why I also think like body count is the same thing that goes for men. If it gets too high, then it's a problem. Yeah, fine. Same for girls. If it gets too high, that's a problem. Depends also on the intentions, but I don't think it should really be something that people look at with like a magnifying glass to be like, oh, body count because she's a woman. I think that's dead.
So I understand that. It's interesting because this is probably the most common double standard that I think women express, like the whole body count thing. I'm quite liberal in my attitude towards that. However, I understand why it's a standard that men have. And it is a standard that men have. And different men have different standards to that. But there are a lot of double standards that women apply to men that they don't apply to themselves.
Okay, give me one and I'll be like, yeah, let's clean that one up.
Okay. Well, a lot of time women express a man to be making a certain amount of money regardless of how much she makes.
Okay.
That's a double standard. So if a woman's like, I want him to be making 80,000 a year. It's like, yeah, baby, you're earning 30. So why are you asking that from a man?
Yeah.
You could argue that a lot of women want a man who's stronger than her.
Yeah.
That's a double standard. Now, on average, men are stronger than women. On average, that's why we separate genders in sports and athletics. But that's a double standard.
Cool.
They want a man who's taller than her.
Yeah.
A lot of time, they want a man that they can learn from. Ideally, a lot of time, older, more experienced. That's a double standard. So there are a lot of double standards that women apply to men that men we just kind of accept. I don't disagree. The body count thing is a double standard. But apart from that, I think that's the only one men really have. You tell
Probably.
me.
I'm sure I'll think of something as we go down the conversation.
So what about the double standards I said women have for men just now?
Listen, girls, you gotta go get your bag, right? Because this is what I say all the time. Any woman that is waiting to rely on a man to elevate herself, elevate her life, or do things that she just doesn't want to do, if she doesn't tick her own boxes, then you're in danger, because the day that man leaves, or God forbid something happens to him, you're going to be stuck. You're not going to know what to do, which means that you always have to be independent. You may want to have a man that earns more than you, maybe because just that dynamic might help, with the whole roles and who's the leader and all this stuff. Maybe.
Yeah, I hear that.
But don't be asking for stuff that you can't get. I say that all the time. In this day and age especially, go get your bag. Otherwise, you can't be making choices, and beggars can't be choosers.
Beggars can't be choosers. I think I agree. I think when it comes to I know that's a fear that women have, that well, if I don't hold on to my independence, if he leaves me, I'm screwed. And I think that is definitely a legitimate fear, but I think if you choose the right kind of man, I like to think that's something you wouldn't even have to worry about, because I think men have a natural proclivity to want to protect the women they care about, especially if she's the mother of his children. So if they have kids together and they break up, like guys, I've never heard of a guy going out of his way to like spitefully harm the mother because he knows that's going to harm his kids. I have heard it the other way around. So I think that's a legitimate fear, but I think that, and I understand where it comes from, because, back in the day, because women couldn't be independent, a lot of the time they were controlled by the man they were dependent on. But we live in a day and age, like, even if you become unemployed as a woman at 35, you can still go out and get a job, or you can learn something. So you can become independent at any stage in life.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that is is that a quantifiable fear to have still?
No, and it's like you don't even need to hold on to your independence. You're forever independent because you're standing and you're breathing. Build your character, build yourself, build the person that you are, and be always at a situation where you want to be your ultimate self, the best that you can be. If you think about it, every single day you wake up with motivation to be better than yesterday. So you're never going to be down on yourself. And I think that's really important, because when people go into relationships, it becomes very much your insecurities start to come out, like sometimes because you're in love with somebody, you're vulnerable.
Yeah,
and if
100%.
you're not in a situation where you've built yourself up enough, you're going to suffer.
Yeah.
And you're going to put it on the person that you're with. And these times men tend to work on their independence and building themselves up, especially in the world, a lot more. So men sometimes feel a bit more stable and confident to face things. So I think that women need to do that, because that gives you peace of mind and the calmness that you're not going to irritate your man and be dragging his energy when you're meant to be uplifting each other.
I hear that. Yeah. So yeah, you just said about how, a woman should look after herself. So like you said, she's not bringing her man's energy down, and you're both uplifting each other. So what does that look like for a woman when she's dating a guy and when she's in a relationship? What does that look like to you?
When she's dating a guy, what do you mean? Meaning just getting to know somebody? Yeah,
like when she's spending time with a guy that she wants something with, what does it look like where she's working on herself that helps uplift her and him, as opposed to dragging it down? What does that look like to you?
Okay, so in the talking stages, one of the biggest insecurities is it talking to someone else? Could there be somebody else? What's the competition say? You want to know, and it's still too early to be saying, what are we? And the exclusivity. If you work on yourself, if you have your job, your money, your independence, you're confident and comfortable in your own shoes, you're not even going to entertain those thoughts, which means the guy's not going to feel that energy, which means it's going to be more comfortable for him to open himself up to you and to get to know you quicker, and less kind of tension, and that's negative tension and insecurities, and back of your mind thinking of like, oh, is she okay? There's micro language that people pick up on, and that's what creates that feeling. So if you're a girl and you're building yourself up, you know that you stand very well. If there's a competition, you stand very well. You're confident. No other girl can come and take the man that you want, because you're doing your thing.
Yes.
And whether or not there's a girl that is better than you, just the way you feel alone will take you further than her.
I agree. I hear that. Do you think, are there any things that, for example, maybe, how do you show a man that you are choosing him when you're dating him? In that sense.
I must say, I haven't been dating much because I'm really single.
I hear that.
However, I tend to approach a man if I think that he's interesting, if he ticks the boxes.
You approach him?
Yeah.
How do you approach him?
I'm like, hi, I'm Dinalva. With a smile, that's it.
That's it? That's not an approach.
That's it.
That's just you saying hi.
That's all it takes, girls. It's easy for us, I have to say. Just a smile, friendly smile. Hi, I'm Dinalva. They usually they appreciate like the boldness of you as a woman to come and approach, and you don't do it like heavy. You do it sweetly, like hi.
I agree. No, I think that's true. I think women should definitely approach more.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it's true.
There's a different sort of respect that you get even from approaching the right way. Yeah. I don't say, hey, yo, I'm Dinalva. Like, you don't come aggressive. You come sweetly. You do it in your own way, but do it.
Yeah.
It's nice. And usually the guys that don't approach you are the ones that you actually should be speaking to anyway. Because they're not approaching, because that's not what they're out there for. But they are still out there, which means they probably, for example, if you go to a club and the guy's not approaching anybody, usually that's a good thing. It means he's not out there to go and be with girls. He's there maybe to enjoy himself. He likes to dress nice, be with his friends, listen to some music. But he's not on that life. So if you go say, hi, I'm Dinalva, they just shot, they're like, hi.
So what would you say to, because I completely agree with you. So what would you say to women who like, I could never approach a guy. Like, he has to approach me. What would you say?
Oh, I say my sister. Sorry.
My sister, you need to listen.
You are back then. This is now. There's a million beautiful people in the world every single day, not only in person, on the internet, like everywhere. So if you're seeing something that you like, know that something you like's got a million distractions. So you need to go and, hey,
That is very true.
If you don't do that, you're gonna miss out.
That is very true. I mean, I completely agree. Though there is a mindset that I've seen that's like, well, I only want the guy who's gonna A, notice me, and B, have the confidence to approach me. If he doesn't have that, then that's a guy I don't want.
Don't do that. That's okay. That's another thing. I get onto the girls a lot about this. Stop being so entitled. Stop it. I think that's, again, another massive issue. Stop being so entitled. Like, I always tell my friends, why are you expecting him to take you to a restaurant? Why do you need to go rooftop restaurant? Like, who are you to this person?
Yeah.
Why do you deserve that money out of him? Who are you? Why are you so entitled? Who's your mother? Why
Show me your parents now.
Where is this coming from?
Where do you think it comes from?
I think it comes from a misunderstanding of what it actually means to be a woman and the role a man plays in the whole dynamic as well. I think that's what it is. I think a lot of women don't understand why certain things were in place and why certain things are changing now. Because I think it's all good and well for us to say, okay, we're also dealing with the traumas that came from our parents and grandparents and all of this, especially women passing down, pain from maybe being mistreated by their husband, whatever.
Very true.
It's okay. I understand we're going through it.
That happens.
But there's a choice. You've got this one or that one. And you need to, and the answers are out there, what tells you that is right or that is wrong. And it's up to you to actually make the right choice. I know sometimes it's harder to do the right thing, but you can do it. And I think that's what women are now getting it wrong. They do the wrong thing, and then they feel bad about it, and then they complain about it, and then they cry about it. And this time, stop being so entitled. Just be humble. Like, look in the mirror, look at everything that is beautiful about you, and just be comfortable in that. Then look at everything that is not beautiful and see how you feel about that. And try and find a way to make it be okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
Girls,
common sense to accept it. It's true.
yeah.
Where do you think... Oh, yeah, you said you feel like guys don't have game. Like, it's like thirsty or like not at all. Not at all. For guys, and I know this is a very broad general question because every woman is different. What do you think that they should know before getting involved with women? What do you think every guy should know about a woman before he even wants to engage with one?
There's a lot of guys. If you're thinking that she's beautiful, there's going to be a few guys that think the same thing. So you're not the only one.
Of course.
But it doesn't mean that she's sleeping with every single one or entertaining all of them. It means that she's got interest.
Yeah.
Which means now you have to stand out. That's all it is. You have to stand out, but without trying too hard. And women's weakness, the same way women's weakness is visuals, for us is language. Which means what you say is super important. How you say it is even more important.
Very true.
That's true. It.
Yeah. They say men fall in love with their eyes, women fall in love with their ears.
Yeah.
So that's why men lie. Yeah. That's why women wear makeup and men lie.
It's simple, but it's true.
It's so true. It's so true. I had something I want to ask you on. Oh, what is your take on, let's say, interracial dating?
I think it's possible. I think it works well. I think it's great to merge cultures, obviously, because if different races, usually different cultures.
Yeah.
I think it's great, but I don't think it's for everybody. Not everybody gets it because culture is such a huge part of you. It's so important. So it's like another lens through which you see yourself.
Very true.
If there is somebody that you're bringing into your life so close to be obviously in a relationship with, if they don't have an open mind or any sort of relation to your culture, that can cause clashes because as far as that person is concerned, they may not even be aware of it, but they're going to be looking at you thinking, but that's not quite right. Oh, I didn't like that. You messed up in this, you messed up in that. And this time it's just a cultural difference.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's mild, sometimes it's extreme.
Yeah.
It's communication sometimes is not enough to help the situation. Sometimes it is. But mostly you need an open mind and a lot of respect.
Yeah, I agree. So do you think it's more about culture as opposed to race?
I think it's a bit more about culture because I'm mixed race. My mum is white, my dad is black.
Yeah.
But what really helps the situation is the fact that both were born and brought up in Angola, which means the culture is the same.
It's the same.
So the race that never really played.
It's not a thing.
Yeah, I didn't like. I swear, growing up, I didn't really realize that. You know, race was really so important.
Yes.
Like, especially within my family, because I'm dealing with both sides all the time, and black and white merge like it's nothing.
Yeah, of course.
Because culture brings the link together.
Culture is the thing. I agree. I think it is more about the culture than the race. And it's not just the lens in which you view yourself, but it's also the lens in which you view the world.
Yes,
true. Because, not everybody starts with, the truth is not, the world's not fair. Mm-hmm. And not everybody starts with the same cards in life. And there are some things we have to play differently, if we're just being truthful, there are certain elements of moving in society you have to teach to a young black boy that to a young white girl you probably don't have to, or the things are different.
Yeah.
The things are different. They'd have to teach her. I hear that. What do you think, taking a different shift here, what do you think it takes for a man to take a woman seriously?
Depends, because actually I've had a few different answers depending on men and where they are in life.
I agree.
I think some sort of sense of independence is good. I think it gives a man peace of mind, because as much as a man is meant to be a protector, you need to also be able to hold your own so that he doesn't have to do more than he needs to do in terms to protect you or uplift you or this or that. Because a lot of, I've received a few messages actually from some of my guy friends, and they were praising me, saying like this, and I'm really proud of you. I love what you're doing. I love the fact that you show people that you can make yourself happy, and you're not there waiting for somebody to make you happy, to make you money, to make you be someone. You're already doing that by yourself, which means that any man that comes into your life is just going to be there to support you, and you support them, and it's easy.
Yes.
So, okay, that makes sense. That works.
That's nice. I agree.
For other men, I think they just want somebody that doesn't give them like a headache. Just somebody that's, I think, just confidence and comfortability. I don't know. You tell me. What do boys?
For a guy to take her seriously.
Oh, young, pure virgin.
Oh no, I wasn't gonna say that. I wasn't say that at all. And I can't even say that. Half the girls I've dated have been older than me anyway.
Oh wow.
There you're right. Well, for me personally, emotional intelligence is very important. For me personally,
that's true.
I don't like playing games. I don't like emotional games. Like, I'm quite an honest, direct person. So, if something's wrong, I'm gonna be like, "Yo, I didn't appreciate this," or this happened, and this is how it read to me. So I'm not gonna lie, like someone who takes care of themselves, because I like to take care of myself. Do you know what I mean? That's an important quality for me. And like you said, in terms of that, she's, very peaceful for me. That I can. I said this to someone else before. If I can come home and then fall asleep on your lap, whoo, that means you're my peace, boy.
Oh, that's
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, and communication is key. It's funny, this whole thing of, I'm not going to pretend to say that, a woman being young and attractive doesn't make her more desirable to most guys. That is true. But that's what gets her in the door. I don't think that's what keeps her there. Yeah. Depending on the guy. I think some guys, like I said, if they're in the camp of they hardly get anything, I'm like, wow, attractive woman, I'll do anything. Do you know what I mean? I'll just, and I think the same way girls can maybe tolerate nonsense from guys because they're like, it's so hard to find a guy like this because he ticks all my boxes. I think the more attractive a girl is, then the more a guy is willing. Yeah, 100%.
But you know what? I just wanted to say, this thing about going for youth and this and that's something that we need to start kind of saying to people. Be careful with that narrative, because especially in today's age, you go for somebody, as an older man, you're going for a younger woman, you are going to struggle and she's going to struggle. You're actually going to end up being really bad for one another because she's a young girl that needs to experience life. I would say that women shouldn't probably settle down up until the age of 24, 25. I think those are the best ages.
What would you say for men?
Huh?
What would you say for men? What age?
I'd say from 28, 29. So maybe like 30. When you hit 30, I think so far from what I've seen, like when men hit 30, you know, the new decade in their lives, I think that's when they even sit up more. From like the age of 28 8, you already start to get the point. But when it gets to 30, it's just like, okay.
So if we take your guidance there,
Mm-hmm.
then the he's gonna be going with a younger girl.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, but not too young.
Okay, I see. So
24, 20, especially 25, like you're actually halfway through your 20s, you're ready. Be 25 and 30, you're ready to just build now. You're ready to look for that person. And But if you go too young, everyone has phases in life. True, I remember when I turned 25 and how my mind actually changed and how I grew up.
How did it change?
I feel like when I was 21, 22, 23, I would have been more reckless. I just like fun. Life is just more fun. It's easier. You're still a very young adult.
Yeah.
You reach 25 and you're like, oh gosh, I'm getting closer to 30 now. Which means that actually I'm a woman, not a young woman. I'm a woman. Yeah. Now I need to like figure myself out. What am I going to do with my life? What is this? And you start to actually think about the future rather than right now.
See, I hear that, and I do agree with that, or I don't disagree with that part at all. You know, I think that's very fair, especially nowadays because we have so much access to people and a lot of things as well. Though what I would say is that I think anything that's worth having does come at a sacrifice. You know, there is a cost to it. So the whole thing of like, for example, okay, if you are a young, attractive woman and you want to kind of sow your wild oats and have fun, of course, go do that. But then if you're like, okay, I only start thinking about settling down when I'm 26, 27, and you get to 30 and you're kind of like, okay, I don't have the husband and the kid in the house that I want, then it's kind of like, well, that was kind of the risk you took by not prioritizing that earlier, because there will be some young women they're 20, 21, and they're like, I just want to start building the foundation for that now.
Yeah.
And then they'll have that. So I think with anything, like there's no right or wrong, but I think we have to understand that there's anything that's worth having or worth doing, there is a cost to that. And I think we can't pretend that there isn't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. But this is the same thing that I was saying to you before. I think that the best relationships and the ones that really can last longer, where there's respect, trust, communication, they come when the two people involved have built themselves independently. It's the self that I always talk about, to a level where there's complete comfortability in oneself. You're right in who you are, so it's okay to then get into that relationship. And I think that maturity comes with time and experience. And it doesn't mean that you're going through a whole phase from like up until the 24, 25s. But a lot of the time nowadays will be like, for example, if you go to uni, you don't finish uni until 21. A lot of people are not getting masters. So that means you're not graduating and completing your thing until 23. Then you have to get a job, be able to get some experience, because at the end of the day, you still have to have a career, because you're still expected to work, regardless of whether or not you're going to have children or a husband. This woman now has to work. Yeah. So by the time you're actually done with just those basics, you're already 24, 25.
I do agree with you, though. I do know girls who like, they've done all that, but they've been with their boyfriend for like 5-6 years. You even said it yourself. Yeah.
Of course. No, I'm saying that's good. But the reason why I said it, that we need to change the narrative, is because there's a lot of pressure now for people to start thinking that way. And it then disturbs a little bit of the natural process of growing as a person independently.
I hear that.
And obviously you can be in a relationship, especially if you have the right person there. But then at the same time, a lot of these relationships that you have when you're like 20, 21, 22, they're just relationships that you have for that moment in time.
Very true.
Because you change. And guess what happens? You make decisions based on that relationship, which means that you're making decisions for a future that is not even coming. So that's why I say, like, build the self first and then settle down, so that you help yourself more. And you then, by doing that, you help the person that you're going to be with. Yeah. That's how I see.
I hear that. I think that's fair. That's a fair point. Earlier you said that you kind of want to build your platform. You know, you want fame so you can spread the good message and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What is the message that you want to be bringing to the world?
It's one of love for oneself and for the world. That's all it takes. You got to be selfish and selfless at the same time. And I want people to understand that. And I think that usually when people are speaking like this, they don't fit a certain image that attracts people. So I'm using my image and I'm using my ability to kind of get some attention to then say the right things. Use my image to attract and my mind to then indoctrinate.
I love it. We've got to indoctrinate. I love that. Okay. So what would, imagine if, let's say, 10 years down the road, let's say you have a son. What is, you just say you have a son and a daughter.
Yes.
What are 3 things you would tell your son about women and 3 things you would tell your daughter about men?
Okay. I would tell him that there are women and there are girls. And you need to know the difference. Women you marry, girls, you don't take so seriously. Because they're the ones that get you in trouble. The second one is make sure that as a man, you can take care of yourself. Because if you can't, any woman that comes to fulfill a need that you have will take control of you. And you don't want that.
Amen.
It's dangerous. So that's why if a man tells me, I don't cook, I'm like, I'm sorry. You're probably going to suffer. Because all it takes is for your link to make you a nice breakfast. And then she moves in the next day. It's that easy.
Big facts.
Yes.
Big facts.
And then the third one is... it's okay to experience heartbreak. Not every woman is going to break your heart. You'll find somebody new if things go wrong. Because I think that, at least from what I've noticed from some of my guy friends, there's been that one girl that broke their heart, usually like college or high school, but usually it's like high school, college time, you know, the one that they decide, okay, let me be emotional for once. And then she does some madness, whether it's direct or indirect, she does. And it's just like, why did I even do that?
Yeah.
Screw girls. And then that's it.
Yeah.
So I don't want that mentality for a son of mine. I just want him to be emotionally intelligent.
Yes.
Yeah. Not emotionally sensitive, emotionally intelligent. I think intelligence is important.
Before we get on to what you say to your daughter, do you think there is I watched a video recently and it was talking about men being vulnerable with women. And there's a lot of stuff out there like guys saying men shouldn't be vulnerable with women because then she'll lose respect for you. And then there's other stuff saying like, no, you know, women say we want you to be vulnerable because then we feel we can connect more with you. So I feel like there's very strong opposing views, and I can see the reasons for both, but I don't know why they're not marrying. And one thing I saw in a video recently was someone said, it's not that a man can't be vulnerable with a woman, but he kind of has to earn that vulnerability with her. Whereas women don't have to really earn that vulnerability. And I think a man almost has to even earn that vulnerability in society as well.
Yeah.
Do you think that's fair to say? Because I think if a guy's like from the second date, he's just open up about, oh, I've got this. I think a lot of girls would look at him and just go, okay, like you ain't got your shit together. Like you're not very stable. Like a lot of girls would judge him for that. But it's very different if he's sharing that with a woman who's been in a relationship for 2 years. And he's like, babe, I'm having some troubles here. Do you know what I mean? Do you think that's fair to say?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, you need to. I think that it's right what you're saying, because if you don't earn your vulnerability in the sense of, for example, show that you are about it, you are still a man.
Yes.
But you could also have a vulnerable side. That's great. Right. So that means maybe like show the good first and then open up, like build towards it. Don't just like pour out, because like I said, we are language people. So if you're not coming and talking sad too quickly, it's like, wow, okay, you were desperate to let that out, which means inside something must be really bad. Yeah. That's how we're going to look at it. Or maybe or a bit like emotionally unstable. Yes. But I also would say the same thing for girls. Like, why are you being so vulnerable so quickly and, you know, just opening up and be so, oh, you know, babe, I went through this. Like, don't. Like, build the ability to be that vulnerable, because vulnerability takes a lot of trust and a lot of respect, which is a lot of people don't have in relationships.
I agree. I do think for girls that the vulnerability is more afforded to them, though.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Because girls are meant to be more emotional.
But I think guys have a natural proclivity to want to protect women.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why if you cry, as a girl, be like, turn on the waterworks.
All the guys like, what's wrong? Okay. What's going on?
Yeah.
Even if it was her who broke the vase. No,
there was a meme my sister sent me the other day. Yeah. It said, advice from your best friend. The girl messages her friend saying, girl, we're arguing. This man's making sense. What do I do? The friend just says, start crying. It's like, yeah, start crying.
Listen, it's so true. I won't say this, but a good female friend of mine, she said this to me many years ago. And she was just like, if you're in an argument with a girl and she starts crying, ask her why she's crying. If it's to do with the topic of discussion, right, then it's like, that's like, she says something like, oh, it's not true. It's always about how she's feeling. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that is so true.
It's true.
That is so true.
But that is also something else I wanted to say.
Yes.
It's good for men to have female friends. And
Yes.
same way it's good for women to have male friends.
Yes. But I have a stipulation to that.
Go on.
I think men should not be friends with any woman that he finds attractive.
So basically you have only Butters friends.
No, Butters friend.
dead.
Okay, let me rephrase. He should never have friends who he is attracted to. So if he looks at this girl and goes, because the thing is, you can have people who you go, I can appreciate you're very attractive, but I'm not attracted to you. Like you can have those kind of people, right?
Yeah.
The issue is with most guys, if they find a girl attractive, he would probably have sex with her. That's just the way men are. So I think it's best for guys. I think that's a rule they should follow. I think it's in their best interest, and it's in the girl's best interest.
Yeah, it's in everyone's
as well.
best interest to do that. I think that when you put sexuality in the middle of, male and female,
Yes,
and if you want a friendship, then that it doesn't work. What I find is that all of my guy friends, I've built a relationship with them that is so substantial that if anyone was to then put sexuality in the middle, they'd just be like, ew.
yes.
These times,
so you think none of your guy friends would ever sleep with you?
No.
Are you sure?
No, they're my brothers. Literally, it's kind of awkward to even think about it. Ew.
You sure you would? So if you text one night, I'm feeling really frisky. I've always kind of been curious about you. Let's give it a go.
Not the close ones. I've got a few guy acquaintances, some friends that will just chill when we go out and this and one. Maybe those, but they're not people that I'll get close to.
Yeah.
But my close friends, my brothers, never. They'd be like, "Ew, Dinalva, you're right. You must be high or something."
Yeah,
they'll find it very out of character because my boundaries are very set with everything. Once you step out of it, you already know. Even if it's as a joke, I'll be like, you've got to be careful.
It's true.
So they know, you're acting out of character.
It's so true. It's so true. I think I definitely yeah. So I said that, that's the rule that I would give for guys.
Yes.
In being friends with women. Don't be friends with any woman that physically you're like, I would sleep with you.
Yeah, no.
What's the rule for women in terms of being friends with guys?
Oh, boundaries.
Set boundaries?
Straight away. Boundaries, don't be too physical. It's the same way a man doesn't sit down with these bros and touches his leg.
Yeah.
You don't do the same. You put yourself in a situation where you are almost like the man them. You're still a girl.
Yeah.
But because of how you carry yourself in terms of keeping that no touch space, you'll become one of the man them. Boys aren't hugging each other all the time and holding hands.
Yeah, that's true.
I tell my guys, any man that comes up to me and says anything, I always say to them, if I was a man, would you have done that to me? And usually they wouldn't. So I said, okay, so you're doing it wrong. So please don't do that.
That's true. Do you not think that, and let's just be real, right? I think girls are friends with guys. I think girls know that guys become their friends with the hope of something happening more. So it's they can have a genuine friendship, but it could be 60% of that friendship is him trying to set the foundation for something romantic to happen. I think girls know that.
Yeah. And you know what? Unless you are in a relationship already, I wouldn't discourage that too much. I'll explain why.
Okay.
Right?
Interesting.
So, for example, for me right now, I am not looking to just have flings, just meet anyone. Yes. I don't want to share my energy just for no reason, right?
100%.
So I'm looking for somebody that will be my husband. And I say, actually, do you know what? I want my husband to be my best friend first. I want my husband to be somebody that's been so close to me that I didn't even notice that I've been my full self with. Where he knows everything that is good about me, everything that is bad about me. There's no secret. And that he loves me that way for who I am. So when you then put the romance and obviously put sexuality into the equation, it doesn't make things as difficult in terms of getting to know each other through that.
I hear that. Can you not? So what, are you saying that you would want him to be one of your close friends first and then?
Yeah, I would want us to be like this and then. When sometimes, well, obviously.
But is this best friends or is this because there's a difference between dating and getting to know someone and building that companionship and then being like, oh, we're going to start off as best friends and then maybe we can see what happens in the future.
Kind of. So basically, maybe this is me being idealistic because sometimes I do that, and I say this is how I'd like things to go, but it may not go this way. But the way I put it together is that when you have those nice movies where they're friends and they've always just been friends, and then one day,
it's just like, I think that's cat.
Oh shit, like you're cool, and you're so beautiful. I never realized. And at the same time, she's thinking the same thing. Oh, is he actually? Yeah, he's cool. I like him.
I don't think that happens.
All of a sudden, you become husband and wife, and you were best friends before.
Okay, not that it doesn't happen, but I think that is
Is that a fairy tale?
I think it's a fairy tale. I don't think that happens because I think, honestly, and this is what I've had female friends tell me. Mm-hmm. When they see a guy, they're like, they know whether they would go there with him or not. And then it's all about making sure that he's just a decent guy.
Yeah.
Right? Making sure that he's not a creep, that he's level-headed, whatever. But girls will go, I would fuck him.
Yeah.
And I think, and the reason I'm saying this is because we have so much access. If there's a guy who you think, I'm undecided, so I'm going to be friends with him first, right? Because there's so many other people. In that time you're being friends and that you're maybe building that best friendship and closeness, you could easily meet another guy. They're like, I just have this draw to him, this physical draw to him, and he's a great guy, and you naturally choose him. Because I'll be honest, if a guy is friends with a girl because there's a hope of it becoming something more, I always say you have to leave that friendship. I'll be honest.
Oh yeah, and no,
leave it. And it's not good for him, and I don't think it's good for her long term. Yeah. Because what ends up happening is that because imagine you meet a guy, he's into you, like, look, you're like, you don't know, but you want to build the friendship first. Build the friendship and stuff. He's there for you, everything that you said. If you then meet someone else and start dating them, he's going to start to resent you.
I know.
And that's not good for you. But then because you have a friendship, he's going to be like, I can't show that I'm resenting her, but it's going to manifest itself in other ways that you're going to be like, what the fuck is happening?
I retract my statement. I retract my statement immediately. Husband, you are not my best friend.
Yeah, I think you're right. Building the companionship early on, but I think that chemistry, that initial, I think it's important for that to be there because that sets the tone.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, definitely. To be fair, I already, like, in my head now, when you're telling me this, I was just thinking, yeah, I've already done that in my head realistically. It's true. I already know who's who, who's not.
Yeah. Because I think the equivalent is like, if a guy was seeing a girl in a more casual way, and the reason it was casual is because he was like, oh, I'm just not ready for a relationship. Mm-hmm. And then he gets into a relationship with another girl. You're like, what the fuck? You freaking lied to me.
Yeah, what?
You'll be like, you'll start to resent him for it. So I think that. I want to come back to what would you tell your daughter about men? 3 things you would tell your daughter about men.
Don't be scared. Be smart.
Yeah. Say more. Can you give us like a little example of that?
Don't feel even like any sort of anxiety or fear to see a man, to face a man, to speak to a man, because a lot of girls do. Like I told you, will you think I'm pretty? Will I think? Be smart. If you're smart, you're always going to be in a situation with a man that you understand that language is your weakness. The way a man speaks to you is your weakness. So you're smarter than that. Pay attention to what matters. A lot of girls sometimes do get fooled by a pretty face and nice words and a nice car or whatever, or like the quiet bad boy in the corner. No, be smart.
Yes.
Yeah. And don't be scared. Like, obviously, a lot of women are also kind of a bit worried to just put themselves in man and women like situations. It's just how might it look? What can I? Don't be scared. Be smart. Be smart. Being a smart woman is actually quite attractive because you know how to speak and you know what to say and you become more aware.
I agree.
The next one. Be selective. It's important.
Selective in what sense?
Everything. Be selective.
Even when being casual?
Yeah, be selective. You have to be selective. Like I told you, my thing now is that I'm inaccessible.
Yes.
The people that I speak to, the people that are in my circle, I'm very selective now. And that helps because the people you surround yourself with actually informs your future.
Very
so
true.
If you're now like dealing with just anybody, that means 2 years down the line, you've already made a million bad decisions because you've been around anyone.
I agree.
So selective, be smart. Let me see another S. And be sweet but strong.
I was like, every guy is gonna be like, the S word is submissive. So many guys are gonna be saying
Listen, do you know what the craziest thing is about submission? Do you know why I hate it? I don't think people understand what submission actually means in a relationship.
I agree.
I don't believe that I need to submit to somebody just because he's a man. I submit to somebody because it makes sense. The same way that somebody else can't submit to what I'm saying because it makes sense. So husband and wife, you're at home, both at home. Baby, I know that you are a breadwinner, whatever, but I'm sick at maths. Which means that you're telling me a business idea for us to go into, and I'm saying, babes, the numbers are not adding up. Can we please revisit? Can we please not do this? Can we hold on? Can we just chill? And he's like telling me, no, we have to do it now. We have to do it now. I'm like, babes, trust me. The numbers are really not adding up. I know you thought about this. You had a crazy wild idea, but it's really not going to work.
Yes.
At that point, I'm not trying to not be submissive, be stubborn or anything like that. I'm trying to show you like, I've got skills. I can understand this very well. And I'm telling my husband, please, this is going to go wrong.
Yes.
Please don't do it. And that's it.
I agree. I think when a lot of women hear the word being submissive, they think, I bend to his every whim.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think in that certain scenario, any capable, smart man, he would have chosen a woman that goes, okay, if I know this is her area, I'm going to listen to what she has to say, obviously. And maybe it's better that she guides in this area. So it's like, it's like when you have a battalion, right, fighting in the armed forces, and then it's like you have a guy who's a scout. You can have the captain of your platoon, but the guy who's a scout, he's going to, the captain's going to look to him and be like, okay, tell us where the enemies are, because I don't have that skill. You're more adept at that skill. I think that where maybe some of the quote unquote submission might come into it is like, okay, what happens when you want to go left and he wants to go right, and you both have reasons why. If you're going to stay together, one of you does have to submit to the other person's decision. So I think I think when men say that, they're like, okay, well, they're like, you submitting is submitting to the man's decision to go in that direction, even if you don't want to. So I don't know, like, if I asked you, if you had a husband and a child and, let's say, he wants to go right, you want to go left, what do you do in that scenario?
I would say that because I can't be bothered to drive, and I know that I trust you, I know that I respect you, and I know that I love you, and I know that you love me, you respect me, and you trust me, I'll go with you. That's why.
I hear that.
It's not because he's a man.
Yes.
It's because we've built a connection that makes it make sense. Because I as much as I want to be independent, do my own thing, I also know that there's certain plans in my life that I'm trying to do that I actually would like a man to be in my life to supplement the other side that I don't have time to work on, because I've got my own lane, he's got his, but together they work well. So I'll just be like, okay, we'll do your way. And then just trust the experience. I'm adventurous anyways.
Yeah, so, there you go. Yeah, that's
trust
it.
The experience. If it worked or if it doesn't work, it's not about I told you so. Be like, okay, cool. Let's find another way then. Just quickly. Be positive. That's why I say people need to work on themselves first, so that when it gets to that crossroads moment, their ego is not at play.
That's it. You have to let go of that. And I think, like you said, the biggest thing is, I think when you have trust and respect, let's say as a woman for a man, then yeah, you're right. You're like, okay, I have enough trust and respect for you that I'm willing to do this for us. Yes. For sure.
It's not given. You know what I mean? It's earned. And that's the thing. Everything needs to be earned. The same thing when you said with vulnerability. Yeah. You need to earn that. And by saying earning is more like, say, you have to build towards getting to that reward. It doesn't just happen. It's a journey. It's you getting to know somebody deeper. It's about that you see and how that person reacts to your biggest secrets, to the most amazing things. Just study each other. Yeah. And that's why communication is important. Otherwise, if you don't ask, you don't know. So you need to talk more. You need to build that. Know what, like, I don't understand how people sometimes don't ask where somebody is from and go ask more about like what was it like growing up and things like this that help us now understand why you are the way that you are, why you see the world the way that you see. People don't go that deep, and then they miss key information, which then when they do find out, it's kind of late, and you think, oh shit, I didn't know this about you.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the trust goes a little bit dodgy.
Yeah.
You make the wrong decision because you don't know really what this person truly is like.
Yeah.
So communicate, explore together.
100%. Yeah. What is one question you'd like to ask all men? Anything.
Why can you not why is sex something that feels almost like a must have, like an uncontrollable desire? Why is it that sex is just something that it feels like you guys can't go without?
Can't go without.
Yeah. Like that's my question.
Honestly, I want to know that answer too. I don't know why. I've had this conversation with a couple of my guy friends. Like, I don't think women understand.
I don't think we do.
How powerful a woman's feminine sexual energy is, and her beauty. I think it's just how males are wired.
Yeah.
Like, and it's. I'm deadly being serious. Like, there was a point I was considering abstinence.
Right.
Because I was like, I'm so focused on my work right now, and this bugging thing, this male part of me needs like, this release. Hey. And I'm like, this is like not helping.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Honestly, I wish I knew. It's just wired in men. And to be honest, it's why OnlyFans is a thing. It's why attractive women, it's why you get so much validation online because of that thing that in men. It's also the very thing that got us here in the first place. If males weren't like this, it's very likely we would have died out a long time ago. In fact, I was reading something talking about sexual transmutation, and sexual energy is almost the incentive for masculine endeavors. You know, the thing, if you took a man who doesn't care about having a valuable, gorgeous woman that he's attracted to by his side, who doesn't care about having sex with women, to sharing that intimacy, I don't think he'd have a lot of drive in life. And I think a lot of men don't even realize this. And it's not that guys are like, okay, I'm going to work this hard so I can have sex with as many girls as possible. But it's more, men do want to be in the position when they can choose the kind of woman that they want.
Yeah.
And yeah, sex is important to men. It's very important, and but then I guess the equivalent I would ask is, you know, if you were just having sex with a guy, there was no emotional connection. That's the equivalent of a guy having an emotional connection but no sex. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
I would say it's the same because men and women show their investment differently.
Yeah.
You know?
It's true. It's literally it's exactly it's like the 6 and the 9, you know. It depends on where you stand, but it's the same thing. It's true. And I'm so happy that you said what you said. Women, you don't understand the power of our sexuality. They don't understand, and they use it wrong.
Honestly, look, I'm gonna expose myself right now, but I'll say it.
Tell us your secret.
When I was considering being abstinent, I was like, okay, I'm going to go about my day, right? And the thing is, everything's so sexualized. People are wearing tight stuff. Guys are showing stuff to show off their chest and their arms. Girls are showing off their body. All the power to you. But I was like, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna see that. Minding my own business, walking, attractive girl walks past. I'm like, don't look. Okay, cool. Another one, don't look. Okay, cool. Another one, okay, don't look. Okay. It took more energy to try and ignore it than just to be like, she's a beautiful woman, and go about my day. It took way more energy to ignore it. By the time I go back to my hotel room, I was exhausted. And I'm like, I hate it. Honestly, I had this conversation with a female friend. Like, it's one of the things I low-key hate about being a man.
Wow.
That the amount of power a woman's sexuality has. It's so powerful.
I literally, a woman is a man's kryptonite. I say all the time. Men do everything for us. They built the world for us because of that.
Men die for women, bro.
Yeah, I know.
We die for you.
And this is why I say girls are, and that's what a lot of people get wrong. Power corrupts. Some girls get entitled because they are aware of that, the fact that the power actually lies in their hand.
100%.
But it's just like, don't overuse it.
Yeah.
Don't abuse it.
Yeah.
And hold it tight. It's like it's your trump card. Like, you know, you don't always use it, and you may never even have to use it to get anywhere in life, but just know that you got that. For me, I know. I know when I step into a room, I know what most men are going to be thinking about depending even on what I'm wearing. I know. I'm very calculated about the things that I do because I'm very aware of that. You know, like I sit down with, I love speaking to men because I like to understand the unknown because I don't know what goes on in your head.
Yeah.
But when I start to hear it more and more and more, I'm like, whoa. And it makes sense. And I start to think about different scenarios. I'm like, everywhere. No, it's amazing.
And thing is, don't get me wrong. It's not like out in the world, just like looking at every single woman.
No,
it's not like that. But it's just more like, it's like, I think, because there's a way you can be like, oh, I appreciate you're an attractive woman without being like freaking thirsty, right? There's a way to do that.
Yeah.
But and I think in that instance, I was just like, I just want to pretend that doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
And it does exist.
It
does exist. And I'll be honest, I used to, kind of, when I was, kind of dating with women, I used to be like, okay, well, if she's attractive, then I would have sex with her. Mm-hmm. I very much used to be that way. But now it's like, that's not enough. Like, I have to like who she is because, like you said, time is important. It's about who you're investing energy into. But I'm not going to pretend and say, oh, if she's attractive, well, she's going to catch my eye. And she's going to catch most men's eye. And that thing's very powerful.
Yes. The world is so visual. There's so many distractions all the time. Everyone is so focused on trying to be the most beautiful and amazing. So I know it must be hard.
What do you think? What do you think is the equivalent for women? What do you think there's something in men that women just can't help resist, or maybe women don't really have one?
Nah, we do. But with us, I feel like it's more of a combination of things.
Yes.
Usually is going to be your size and
dick size.
Size.
I was like, well.
It's like your build.
Sure.
Okay, that's better. Your build. Your build and how put together you look.
Right.
Yes. Every girl does have a little something for the bad boy. Yeah, bad boy looks great and everything, but I think that girls like a bit more of a high class sort of danger to a man. So if you look put together, we get to wonder like, oh, okay, you're looking sharp. Like, who are you? You'd rather have a Bruce Wayne than like a gangster, I'd say. You see what I mean?
I see what you're saying. It's funny. You know Jordan Peterson? Do you know
Jordan Peterson? The old man with the grey hair, right?
Yeah, the clinical psychologist. And one thing he showcases in one of his lectures, and he says from studies, the most attractive archetypes for women are the vampire, the werewolf, and the billionaire. And it's because, like you said, it's that all kind of that high class danger. You know what I mean? And I think one thing for men, I think part of the reason why, how you said earlier that a lot of men come across as either thirsty or just weak, especially for the weak men. I think a lot of modern men have been told that to be capable as a man is to be toxic. So what happens is they've gone, okay, I'm not going to be masculine at all, but now just comes across as weak, and they're not coming across they want to women. Women are like, what is up with all these freaking weak ass men?
Losers.
Yeah, it's true. Someone would say that. So, the example I always give is, if you get a dog, let's say you have a house and a family, you want to get a dog, and let's say this is supposed to be a guard dog for the house. You're not going to choose the dog who is loving to everyone. No. Because when the burglar comes, the dog will be like, hey, let me show you where all the good stuff is. Welcome.
Yeah.
That's shit.
It all.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But then you don't want to choose the dog who's going to take everyone out because you want them to love your family, right?
Yes.
So you choose the dog that loves your family but can take someone out when the burglar comes. Yeah. And I think that's the right balance. And I think a lot of men have been told, if you have the capability to take someone out, that's bad dog.
Yeah.
Be the one who can't do anything.
And then you can't do anything. Why can't you take people out?
You know what I mean?
It makes the balance. You have to be playing. And this is why I don't get it. People keep acting that it's either black or white. We are all grey.
Yes.
we are all a mix of so many things. Yeah.
We all have masculine and feminine with us.
Yeah. So it's just balance it out. And we're always, and this is the thing, when you're talking about balance, you're always having to readjust it.
Yes.
So don't just be stuck because you're going to go off balance. Readjust it. And readjusting that balance means you need to reflect. You need 100%. To think a lot more, you know. Agree. And it's okay. You'll find a nice balance. You know, I think like you said, a lot of the guys now, what some of the problems is they come across way too soft. That's not good.
Yeah.
The same way you don't want a girl that is way too emotional or way too non-emotional. You want there to be a middle point, you know, where sometimes she looks like she may cry and she just does this.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
She didn't cry the full way, but she showed that she was gonna cry.
I hear that.
See what I mean? That's it. That's the secret to everything. Just strike the balance just right.
Yeah.
You're good.
I agree. Listen, final question for you. What is one thing you know about? What's one thing you take into dating today that you didn't know when you were like 21, 22?
I didn't know that people's outer layer a lot of the time is nothing compared to what's hiding inside. So I learned definitely the cover doesn't tell you the story at all. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it does, but go with that mentality. The cover doesn't tell you enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear that.
And then you go deeper. I think that's what I would definitely tell my 21-year-old self.
Yeah, that's awesome. Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. Tell us, where can we find you? Where can we find you online?
At the moment, I'm on Instagram, Dinalva.al. Dinalva, Dinalva. You'll get used to the name soon.
There you go. You got it.
And that's it so far. But I am building my YouTube. But you know how it is. I'm new to these social media things.
Listen, one step at a time. And when you've got it running and you're having conversations, you don't have to invite
Obviously.
You. Come on. Great conversations.
Obviously.
That's what we're here for.
Thank you.
But listen, Dinalva, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming. And guys, thank you for tuning in. And I will see you in the next episode. Pow.